Welcome back to another New York Giants video, and today I'm going to have a little bit of a different type of video. It's going to be about a rumor that came out today, and it was about our head coaching search, and I think we might get answers very soon. And the guy on the screen right now, Brian Daboll, it seems like the Giants are interested in him and have him at the top of their list, even though John Mara thinks that Brian Flores could step in and be the next head coach. But rumors have come out. I'll bring up the quotes soon. But it seems like Brian Daboll is the favorite. They're going to be offering him a contract, and we might get word or as early as today or tomorrow. I think it'll definitely, at this point, I think it'll get done over the weekend. The Giants have finished their head coaching search in terms of interviewing candidates. There aren't any more guys that are scheduled to be interviewed. The latest guy was Leslie Frazier of the Buffalo Bills. It was their defensive coordinator, who obviously has ties to Joe Shane. But it seems like the Giants are honing into Brian Daboll and Brian Flores. I think one of those two guys is going to be the next New York Giants head coach. But the problem I brought up in my past video is that Brian Daboll has connections to Miami and Tua Tagovailoa. Obviously, those two work together in Alabama. Daboll was the OC there, and Tua was a quarterback. So it seems like Miami wants to build around a team that works for Tua, and I think their owner, Chris Greer, definitely believes in. Oh wait, that's their GM. He definitely believes in Tua and feels like that he's the quarterback going forward, and that's why they got rid of Brian Flores. It seems like Brian Flores is at the top of our list, and we've contacted Miami asking about Brian Flores. But obviously the things coming out of Miami are going to be good because Miami wants Brian Daboll for themselves. I might be a little bit biased right now, but you might get the hint. I want Brian Daboll as a head coach. It's not even about being an offensive-minded guy. That has something to do with it. But I think Brian Flores is a great coach. But there's a reason why Miami got rid of him, despite all those the wins that they had the last 2 years. I think, if you want a guy, who's going to believe in the players, who's going to trust them, who's going to appreciate them, obviously Joe Judge definitely respected his players and everything, but being that hard-nosed type of guy, you don't want to bring in another guy who's going to have the same philosophy because it just makes no sense. Why'd you get rid of Joe Judge then, But Brian Daboll might be the next head coach, is a great thing, great offensive minded guy. And, working with Joe Shane might be like, a match made in heaven since they've already worked together in Buffalo. But this, let's get into the quotes. The first one came out from, both of these are from Cam Marino. So it says, update. Several sources indicate to me that the Giants are focused on Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll to be their next head coach. Things can change, but New York is infatuated with Daboll. The Dolphins are too, but I anticipate the Giants moving fast. He adds, it's close, but it'll be Daboll. I think Daboll has his second meeting with the Miami Dolphins. At least the Dolphins requested to interview him for next week, I think Monday or Tuesday. So if the Giants just want to lock in their guy, it's gonna have to happen over the weekend or today. That also depends on Daboll. You can't force him to sign the contract. You could just offer it to him. If he really wants to come here, then he'll sign the contract without that meeting, with Miami. But he could just let things play out, have the interview with Miami, see how things, because he's already interviewed with them once, so he probably has an idea of what they want and what direction they want to go in. But if we want our guy, and if we really believe Brian Daboll is the guy, we might, have to up the money a little bit, kind of what with Carolina did with Matt Rule. They didn't even let him come to the Giants for the interview. So, the Giants might have to do something like that. But right now, if you really believe in him, if you really think he's going to be, the guy that's going to develop this team, take this team to the playoffs, maybe even the Super Bowls, then you do everything you can in your power to keep him here and not go to Miami. The next quote is from Cam Marino as well. And it says, Mara loves Flores, no secret, but there's a belief in the organization that Brian Daboll is the right guy to rejuvenate the offense. Would not be surprised to see some sort of resolution in the next 24 hours. Not over yet, but Daboll is in the driver's seat. So, you see it again that, John Mara obviously has, he definitely has some type of connection with Brian Flores. He thinks that he can be that guy. He's reached out to him personally. I was open to it, but, with the recent stuff coming out with John Mara saying he doesn't want to bring in Deshaun Watson, and a lot of people have been saying that, if we get Brian Flores, Deshaun Watson is coming to the Giants. It seems like that won't happen. It's not a package duo. So you're just getting another Joe Judge, but a defensive-minded guy. Obviously has some success under his belt with Miami, with the wins and everything, but I just don't see the fit here. You fire Joe Judge, and then you want to bring in the same type of guy who's worked with Bill Belichick. He's from that tree and has the same type of approach to running a team. I don't know why we would have gotten rid of Joe Judge at that point. Obviously, the wins aren't there for him, but I'd just rather have, if you're really going to restart and rebuild and start from the bottom, why not bring in a guy with a different mindset, the guy that's going to do things his way, and he's going to be his own guy. Brian Daboll does have his connection to Alabama and New England, but he's branched off of that tree, and he's done things his own way, and that's what I really love. Joe Judge, it seemed like he tried to impersonate what Bill Belichick did in New England. Matt Patricia did that with Detroit. I guess you could say Brian Flores tried to do that with Miami, but it kind of worked for him. But at the end of the day, I don't want a guy who's going to bring the same thing Joe Judge did with the Giants. I think it is going to be Brian Daboll at the end of the day. His connections with Joe Schoen really have a part in this, and I really think they could have a huge impact in who we hire. If it is Brian Flores, I think we might see that John Mara does have his paws all over it again, and I think he's really influencing the decisions of the GM. If it is Brian Daboll, then it seems like we're turning the corner here with Joe Schoen and John Mara, and John Mara is really allowing Joe Schoen to take over and just do things his own way. Which is, at the end of the day, that's what you want. It's going to be a collaborative effort. You're going to have to, for some things, let's say if they did want to trade for Deshaun Watson, you have to have that pass through ownership because, with all the allegations and all that kind of stuff, it has to go through them. That I understand, but a decision like this, the ownership can't have full. At the end of the day, they are the owners, but they can't have complete say in it, because why are you paying Joe Schoen at that point? What's the point of having Joe Schoen having a young-minded guy who's going to do things differently, or at least is supposed to do things differently? But I'm not saying Brian Flores is a bad coach. He definitely is a good coach. He knows how to get the most out of his players. With Miami, their defense was really good, so it's not like our defense has some talent on it. So I think he would really be able to work with that. Maybe he brings Patrick Graham or keeps Patrick Graham with him because they work together in Miami. But the offensive side has been an issue for them, especially with hiring offensive coordinators. But there has been reports coming out saying that Brian Flores would be more open this time around, and he would look at all the different type of offensive coordinator candidates, and he'll actually do his thorough research. Actually, put some effort. I mean, not saying he didn't put effort in Miami. I'm just saying that he'll actually want to go through a thorough process and bringing in the right guy who's gonna drive the offense through Daniel Jones, because at the end of the day he didn't believe in Tua. We all know that. I guess you could say he wanted Justin Herbert, then he wanted Mac Jones. So Tua really wasn't his guy, and that's ultimately what got him fired in Miami. But Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, both from Buffalo. Joe Schoen wants to work with Daniel Jones, at least for now. Nothing's set in stone for the future, but right now he does want to give DJ a chance. That could be smoke. Obviously, he's a GM. He's going to blow some smoke out there. But if what he says does hold true, then Brian Daboll might be the perfect guy to come in here and develop Daniel Jones, just because he's worked with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, incredible talent for sure, but coming out of college again, he was really raw. He could, they ran a completely different system in Wyoming, and then he had to adapt to Daboll's system. And I think Daboll really realized what Josh Allen did well, so he adapted to Josh Allen's playing style, and that's just a perfect mesh, and it's worked out so far. And I think a lot of those players in Miami don't want Daboll to go. Stephon Diggs, I think, came out too saying that Daboll is his guy and doesn't want to see him leave. So that just shows that the players love him. And if Daboll's able to bring in a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing and is able to just drive this defense completely to like what it was, or make it even better, then we might have a good team in place at least in the next couple of years. And it's not going to be completely overhauled in 1 year, but we'll see progress. A name that's been thrown out there is Don Wink Martindale from Baltimore, who's been a defensive coordinator for a while now, and he's had some success with the Baltimore Ravens. If we bring him in, that'd be amazing. If we keep Patrick Graham, even better. But Martindale, he's a great coach too. They've been able to get a lot out of their players, even later picks in the later in the draft, which is impressive. So with the Giants not having the most talent on defense, we do have a couple players. McKinney, if we keep Peppers, Logan Ryan, who's a veteran, knows his stuff. Leonard Williams, James Bradbury, Dory Jackson, Blake Martinez. It also depends who we get rid of and all that kind of stuff. But it does seem like we have talent. It seems like if we bring in the right defensive-minded coach, he'll be able to work with it. If we keep Patrick Graham, great. He already knows his players, grow on the system that he already had before with the Joe Judge era. But at the end of the day, I think Brian Daboll will get the job, and I think it'll be announced tomorrow, not today, because they're just too soon. Complete a interview with Leslie Frazier and just announce the head coach. But I think it'll happen tomorrow. Definitely happen over the weekend. I don't think so. They'll stretch it out into Monday just because Daboll has the interview with Miami. So that's gonna do it for this video. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell, comment down below what you think about these head coaching candidates, especially Brian Daboll, because he might be the next New York Giants head coach.